What's up, PHP community? Welcome back. And hopefully today, for the first time in a week, we don't have any troubles with the live stream. How the live stream is doing for everyone is, hopefully it's working as expected. Puyapal, Jonathan, Alexandro, Gina, Sony, what's up? Nice to see you all. How everyone is feeling today. Today we have a special live stream. We are going to literally react to Adam Wathan, Taylor Otwell, the Primeagen, TJ, and Mitchell live on the stream because they are literally streaming all together right now. And I wanted to just literally watch this, and I decided to just live stream this for you all so we can see this all together. What do you guys think? How everyone is feeling today? Hopefully the live stream is fantastic and working as expected. Let me know that on the Twitch chat and also on the YouTube chat. Hopefully it's good. A lot of people already. Don't forget to put that like button just below, hopefully. So that being said, let's jump into this real quick. So this is the live stream. It's happening right now. It's happening right now, and we're going to watch this all together. Before we do that, JetBrains, the best editor in the world, native PHP. If you want to build real good PHP applications for the mobile device, there are problems right now. What do you mean, Puya Paul? Is it good? Oh my God, I'm just so sick of Streamlabs, honestly. I'm 2 cents away of changing provider. If you guys have a little bit more lag, like even just once, I'm gonna change providers immediately. So let me know in the chat if the stream is okay right now by typing yes is good or not is no, or no it's not good. Hopefully it is. Red Betty, the best agency for developing Laravel and Vue applications. Devin AI if you want to have a nice software engineer. Code Rabbit for nice code reviews. You guys know that I've enabled that on all my projects already. Laracas if you want to do PHP development like I do. So that being said, let's just close all of this. Bam, 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 bam. So we have this. We don't need this. What else do we need to do to talk about? New video on the channel already, if you haven't checked that already. And of course, here is me on the gym. Here we go. Nice muscle training right there. Let me know what you think about this too. So that being said, what do I want to open? I want to open this, okay? Chat, we are going to react to the Primeagen and Taylor Otwell and Adam Wathan, TJ and Mitchell discussing about open source. So I'm super curious about this. That being said, let's see how it goes, all right? Peter Ferrari, how you doing? Canada Ross, how you doing? Maltroy, nice to see you. Gina, what's up? Hopefully it's good. That being said, let's just jump into this and see how it goes.
All right, today we are talking...
By the way, let me know how the sound is of the Primeagen, okay?
About open source, the right way to do open source. We have with us TJ, core maintainer, or used to be core maintainer of NeoVim, Adam, creator of Tailwind, Taylor Otwell, creator of Laravel, and Mitchell, creator of many, many things, most recently Ghosty, a super fantastic terminal in which was featured in an open...
By the way, I have been together already with the Primeagen and Taylor Otwell, of course, and Adam as well. I haven't never been with TJ and Mitchell.
AI video just recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That is pretty dang awesome. All right.
Chat, is the sound now okay? Let me know.
And so to kind of set the stage for those that don't know, there was this video that was released 2 years ago in which somebody used Express.js as a means to give an example where they forked Express.js, manually edited the README, and then put in their name. And from there on out, approximately every 6 hours for the last 2 years, Express.js receives a PR that says update README, and then has somebody name or the name of the video as the only contribution. And so, you know, this has obviously caused quite a bit of stir in the open source world. People are not very happy about that. I can totally understand why. It's even bleeding over into other projects where people are doing the exact same thing, just a different project like Node.js, or just
By the way, chat, let me know if the audio is okay. It should be okay.
pick your favorite project. There's probably quite a few of them. And then a lot of discussion from there. Again, to set the stage is like, I've seen videos like I think Theo did one, don't contribute to open source was his video. And his big argument is first find the thing you're really interested in. And then once you're really interested in...
By the way, Theo3G made a video about saying that people should not contribute to open source in general. In my opinion, he is right on that topic because he's basically saying that you should just not blindly contribute to open source, which is a reality, you know? Contributing to open source is not like, I need to find a repo to contribute. Should be a little bit more the other way around, which is you find a repo that you are using frequently in every single day, and you then contribute with your ideas into it. You know, if you are using Laravel every single day and you feel that is actually room for improvement there, you should contribute to Laravel, not seek a random project that you are not using. Contributing for something that you don't use actively in every single day, it does simply do not scale long term, you know? That's why typically when someone contributes a big piece of a software to a software of mine, I typically check where the contribution came from. If it comes from someone who is a long-time contributor, but also, you know, that is a likelihood that the guy will be using that in the future, I'm more likely to accept. However, if it's someone that is just doing that and that's it and then will just disappear, you know, no good idea. You know what I mean? No good idea. Oh, thank you, Gene. I'll appreciate. High Solution, what's up? Nice to see you. Psycho, thank you so much for the subscription on Prime 5 months ahead. Thank you, thank you.
Get involved in the community, and then from there, maybe then you can start doing fixes and all that. And so I feel like we kind of assembled a crack team of people who've been contributing to open source for quite some time. And so I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on what is the right way to contribute to open source. So let's start with Mitchell. Mitchell, you haven't been on here in a while.
Yeah. It's good to be back, and we'll see how long I'll be able to stay on. I'm waiting for someone to come over to my house right now, so we'll see. But yeah, I think there's so many ways to answer this, but I think in general, like the happiest, the golden path of what the right way is to contribute to open source is definitely what you just said. Is like join the community, figure out what they're about, figure out like the things they care about, figure out the vibes of how they just observe, just sit there and observe for a little while, and then after that make a small change. It's really hard. Open source is a lot of trust. If someone who's contributed dozens of patches that I know they're going to always like follow up if something breaks, like if they do something big and scary, I'm more willing to merge it, because I'll be like, they'll follow up if it's not perfect anyway, and they've shown that they do pretty good stuff. But if you just like come out swinging and do something big, then it's really hard for me to like dedicate the time to
Literally what I just have said. Literally what I just have said. Like, if you are someone who is new to the project and you are contributing with something big, the likelihood of having me review the pull request even is very low. Because I don't know where the contribution came from. I don't know if the guy will be around if there is problems. However, if it's someone else who is literally already contributing to the project, someone that I know will be around, it's just much bigger the likelihood that I will merge the pull request, okay? This happens for past Laravel and many other open source projects.
to that. So start small and try to focus on like fixing bugs or something. There was like, I don't know if this is still happening, but there was this trend for like a decade where people were like, write documentation, and I'm like, please don't write documentation.
By the way, Canada RAS is not common sense. Honestly, I've seen people ranting on Twitter why Taylor is like rejecting pull requests and shit. Dude, it's because this is literally your first time pull request and you are contributing a rewrite for Eloquent or whatever. That happens all the time, honestly. Happens all the time.
If you're a new user to a project, you're not expert enough to be teaching every other beginner the project. So like, don't write docs, don't fix typos, don't do any of that. Like, it's kind of just noise that doesn't matter that much.
Don't refactor things.
Never refactor things, almost ever, even if you're a really serious contributor.
Literally what I just
think
said.
that's my like the big picture, but there's just so many angles to it.
That's kind of interesting. I'd actually like to hear what TJ has to think on refactoring, because TJ's name is literally Teej Refactor DV. He's a big fan of it.
Well, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you got to shoot for a refactor if you need one. But I mean, my like serious.
By the way, I love this quote. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I absolutely love this take. Every time you think about doing something but you're not sure, well, the no is for sure, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Answer is, if you're new to the project, you don't know why anything is the way it is. And so, like, if you think, oh, well, I know better, I'm going to write this in a new way that wasn't the way it was before, you're likely going to end in either the same spot. I don't know how many times I've started a refactor. I could definitely do it better this time. And then you get to the end and you say, that's the same function signature. Or you just end up in a worse spot that doesn't handle the 37 edge cases that were there before. Or like some other existing thing, like for NeoVim, we had this sometimes where people are like, well, just rewrite this big feature in like a new way. I was like, but we're getting free maintenance, very low cost maintenance. We're like applying Vim patches to this thing. So like it should stay exactly the same because we're getting updates from Vim. But there's no.
Jason Jackson is saying, I was confused for a second. I thought you were on the live too. No, I'm not, dude. Literally reacting to a live stream. That's it.
Nothing like. There's no way to know that unless you've been, like Mitchell said, hanging out in the community.
By the way, chat, I have contacted Adam Wathan to have him on the live stream with us. So hopefully we'll answer, and it will answer positively. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Seeing that low cost patches are a thing, like applying Vim patches, like understanding, like, oh, there's like a whole world of other contributions like existing in the separate repo that you don't know about. So in general, yeah, a big refactor. As like,
just by the way, out of curiosity, chat, write on the chat below if you have already contributed to open source. Say yes and no if you haven't already.
An early thing of like, I'll show how good I am at programming, they'll really like me after this, is a surefire way to get people not happy with the contribution.
Anybody else? Taylor, you've been running an
Here
open
we
source
go.
project for just a couple years now, right?
Yeah.
Couple or
few
20
years.
or something like that. I can't
Couple
remember.
of
Years,
20.
Yeah, gosh. I mean, a lot of stuff comes to mind. Like some of the first things that come to mind are one thing we actually have in our Laravel internal like code guide is read the room, where like a lot of times we'll get a PR that just seems like disconnected from the rest of the project, even just in terms of the way the code is structured or where the method is even put, in the code base. Sometimes it's just like at the bottom of some file because someone stuck it there. So like reading the room and like the context of what you're contributing to. I think another thing is like I'm always looking
By the way, this is like insanely important. If you are contributing to an existing open source project, just respect the coding style and standards. The worst thing scenario is that when you are contributing with a new feature, but you are also changing things like randomly because you think the classes should be final or the method should be an uppercase crap or whatever. It's just the worst, okay? So what you can do is contribute individually the feature and just don't question the coding style, honestly, because it's just about opinions, and typically your opinions are only your opinions. Taylor have obviously his own opinions. I have my opinions. You guys see my code, and sometimes it's just strictness all over the place. But when you see Taylor's code, it's a little bit different. And actually, when I'm working for Laravel, I also work differently because I want to match the style my boss wants, basically. So you don't see me making a pull request to add final classes to Laravel. Doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean, chat?
for my favorite kind of pull requests are things that like maybe add 5 lines of code but unlock like really like tons of developer power or like a really great new feature or flexibility with very minimal like code changes to the framework itself. In contrast to like huge PRs that modify dozens and dozens of files to unlock one niche like edge case for one particular user. That's like the worst kind of PR for me. Also, I prefer like all PRs ideally come out of real world need. A surprising amount of PRs to Laravel come from just like people watching other people make PRs and they see one feature come in and they're like, oh, that caused me to have this idea of wouldn't it be neat if this had this feature? And like it wasn't driven from any real world like use case. It was just because they were watching other PRs come in. They're like made them think maybe this would be helpful too. And it's just sort of made.
Very, very important, chat. If you have an idea, make sure that idea comes from real world use cases, basically. Exactly what he said. Like when I'm working on cloud and I just basically have a bunch of ideas to the framework because they are driven from real world use cases. I have this need on cloud. Can you just make that happen? One example was I was dispatching events in Laravel for broadcasting. And I remember telling Taylor, dude, I really want all my events to be automatically rescuable if they fail to be dispatched. Because typically they are UI related, so I don't really care if they fail. But I don't want the entire queue job to be retried if dispatching an event fails. So he added this interface called it rescuable, which will basically make sure that if you fire an event and the event doesn't work, like because reverb is down or whatever, it will be automatically just rescue it and report it to the exception handler without stopping the queue job. Okay, chat? That's insanely important.
Up in a vacuum. So don't do that. I try to drive most PRs off of real world stuff, and that's how like all the features even I myself add to Laravel are usually driven out of real world stuff we're building here at Laravel. Very similar to like Rails and Basecamp and all of that. Yeah, so that's a couple quick things that come to mind.
I would assume you get a lot more PRs for Laravel. This is just me completely assuming in a vacuum here. Just because the framework itself and also the code people write with the framework are very highly aligned. And so that they could probably start spelunking through and try to figure it out. Whereas Adam Wathan, I assume Tailwind's code base versus the people with whom they serve are very, very far away camps.
Yeah.
Meaning that,
we don't get a lot of contributions really because of that.
You looking for more README updates then? Is that the call that we're hearing right now?
Yes, more README updates. No, I mean, I think Taylor and Mitchell said, my favorite PRs to get are things that fix bugs because that's actually like saving me time,
Mm-hmm.
Or if someone unlocks like some nice performance improvement, things like that. That's always nice, especially if it doesn't require some crazy reimagining of how some entire subsystem works. But new features, I generally feel like a chore, to receive, especially from someone you don't know. I think it's fine when it comes from someone who you talk to like frequently, who's been in the community for a long time and gets it, but not a good first PR, I don't think. Kind of earn the maintainers' trust with like bug fixes, or even just like, honestly, like responding to other people's issues and explaining why it's like their fault instead of me responding to people and telling.
This helps a bunch, chat. Honestly, if you just take care of issues in open source, like past PHP at the moment, I think he has like a couple hundred issues at the moment. So if you go there and do some triage, it's so helpful, honestly.
Why it's their fault is another good way to sort of like earn trust, because it shows that like, oh, I actually like understand how this stuff works and why things work this way and whatever. So in
what
general,
you're really
I
trying
think
to
like,
say, if I'm not mistaken, is you want.
By the way, we have 60 people on YouTube, but only 20 likes. So go all the way down and like this video if you are enjoying today's content, chat. All right? Also subscribe my channel, because why not?
To recreate the Stack Overflow feeling where you get like a base level and you can only comment, and then through enough comments and upvotes you can then gain more and more power. So we just want to recreate that, but with GitHub.
A GitHub social credit score. I see where this is going.
Yeah,
That's
but
exactly
it would be a per repo social credit score.
The thing too, Adam, with what you're saying, I feel like
that actually would be a good feature. Like if you are receiving a contribution and you immediately see like a score, immediately like, typically 90% of the pull requests being done by these people have been merged or whatever. That would help a bunch, honestly. It's a great idea. Social score, absolutely, Canada Raz. That would be an awesome idea, man. By the way, what Adam was saying about Tailwind CSS is just so true, man, honestly, because the Tailwind CSS code doesn't look like the way you use Tailwind yourself, Use CSS classes. Adam uses JavaScript for the Tailwind code, so.
People are like in the community and they're going to do a new feature. They've already talked to you about it. Like that's sort of, I feel like, kind of implicit in this like discussion here is, like, it's not the first time you're hearing about it when the pull request gets submitted. They've probably like been hanging out in Discord or Element or whatever, like on an issue tracker, discussions, kind of like, oh, I feel like we really need like XYZ. What do you think? And then you discuss for and say, okay, cool, I'll submit a PR. Not like out of the blue, nowhere. I feel like that's one of the other things that really like people miss about this is like if you're hanging out in the community, you get chances to talk about the feature that you're really missing and then get a lot of feedback like before any code gets submitted.
Yeah. And if you don't do it that way, you'll end up opening a PR that'll basically get ignored for weeks, and then you'll get resentful and frustrated because you feel like this person's like being a dick, when in actuality it's just like they didn't have anything on their calendar saying like review the feature that this person invented, like they had their time was pre-allocated to other things, So yeah.
One thing
in my case at the moment is really about time. Like I have dozens of repos with dozens of pull requests open, and the reason why those pull requests are open, it's because I don't have time at the moment. Like I work 8 hours for Laravel, I have gym work to do as well, and then I just go to live streams, and I like to also be with friends. So I don't have literally 5 minutes during a day to just go to a random pull request of mine, to a random repo of mine, to just review stuff. You know what I mean? Canada Raz is saying we should implement that in supo.dev. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like literally have a social score of GitHub contributions. Oh, yeah.
I found difficult about these PRs is like someone asked me like, hey, wouldn't this be a cool feature in Laravel? And maybe it would, but it's like entirely dependent on the PR itself and the amount of code it takes to build the feature, right? Like, yeah, that sounds great, but like it's hard to actually know if I would click merge or not until I see the code and like how complex it is. I pretty much have to assume I'm going to be maintaining it forever, to be honest, because anything can happen. And like what does it look like?
Yeah, that's why we have this policy like in Ghosty, and it's in our contributors doc, where like a PR has to close an issue. If you make a PR with no associated issue, and our issues, only maintainers can open issues. Users can't open issues. Users can only open discussions. Discussions are where maintainers could do feature design. We could bike shed. We could assess whether something's worth it. And then only a maintainer, or if a maintainer blesses you, which is actually pretty rare, but a maintainer can then convert that to an issue. And then it explicitly says, like, if there isn't no associated issue, you're still welcome.
By the way, in case you don't know this, people, and you don't know me, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I'm also a Laravel core team member. On the screen, you are seeing
Welcome to Open PR.
Taylor Otwell, the creator of Laravel, Adam Wathan, the creator of Tailwind CSS, Teej, which is a contributor of NeoVim, Mitchell, which is the guy working on the Ghostly terminal, and of course, the Ronaldo of live streams, the Primeagen as well.
But exactly what Adam said. There's a sentence in there that says something like, I might review it in a week, a month, 10 years. Never. I might close it without commenting. Like, there's no warranty whatsoever. I don't need to justify anything. That just might get closed, even though it's perfect. And it's to try to avoid this drive-by, fix a bug, which isn't a real bug, or, it's just a feature, or introduce a feature we didn't want. Or like, I think what Taylor was getting at was, like, a lot of features, the actual like business logic isn't hard. What's hard is like the last mile taste of how that feature gets exposed to users, and I don't trust a lot of people with taste, and so you end up like getting this PR that's mostly there, and then you're just like arguing about taste. And so I want to do all that bike shedding in the discussion, and a lot of the bike shedding in the discussion is literally about, I don't care how you're going to implement. It's not about how. It's about what is the config syntax, what is the config name, what does the UI look like with little drawings. Like, it's just that stuff.
By the way, people get this so wrong usually. Like, I know people who, when they code, they are just perfect. The code itself is just perfect. Highly decoupled. It's really perfect, but they just have bad taste for APIs. Basically, they have bad taste for UIs, bad taste for the actual API of those of that feature. And I believe that all of these people on this screen have good taste in terms of API, but many contributors to projects of mine, sometimes they are very good developers, very good software engineers, but they simply have bad taste when it comes to APIs. That's something that I think I'm good at. Obviously, Taylor is probably better than me. Being native in English also helps, I guess. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind too.
Because then you could get the rest working, and you could like.
It kind of reminds me of like, isn't it like a famous like Amazon thing or something, where like every like new project, there was like write the press release first,
Beckett's next is saying my code is always perfect. I mean, yeah, it comes to the thing of, taste. Taste is a very important thing to have, man, honestly.
But yeah. So with the way that you guys do things, Mitchell, if you are the only ones who can open issues, do you monitor discussions like pretty diligently then to like notice when like a bug is reported from the community that should be escalated to an issue? Or do you just kind of trust that if there's a real bug, I will know about it, it will get to me somehow?
If it's bad enough, I'm going to hear about it. But for the most part, it's part of my daily morning routine where I sort discuss.
Hey, Diabella, what's up? How you doing? By the way I get reported with serious bugs is that people just tweet me that, basically. If there is actually something serious, that past is broken or Laravel is broken, honestly, people just spam me on Twitter. That's how I know something is really important to tackle.
Sessions by date created, and for the most part, we only get like 3 to 5 per day. But there's also like we have maintainers, and we also have like another group of people in the community that we call helpers. There's probably 24 of those people, like significantly more, and they just have triage permissions on the GitHub repo, and Discord communities and stuff, and they're awesome. And they tag stuff, label stuff for us. They answer a lot of Q&A and close it, and it's a cool role. So that's sort of how we.
Dev's Buggy is saying the following: each time I code something, I feel proud of my code. But when I look after days or weeks, I feel it needs a lot of work to improvements. Dude, that happens all the time with me too. Like the code I have wrote 1 year ago feels like fucking old to me at the moment. That happens all the time, honestly. It feels old, feels like something I wouldn't do right now. It's just natural and normal, by the way. Oh my God. Back is next is saying the following. I have DMU on X. I have a feature I want to work on. Oh, you mean about Supo or about something else?
We look at that stuff.
I like
How
that
do
idea a
you,
lot. I might steal
That's
that.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you
I was
convince
thinking that. I was
people?
thinking
Or like, sorry, yeah. How do you convince or like bring people on for like the triage role? Because for some people, I feel like it's like a specific person that'd be really interested in doing that. Like, are you guys
Yeah.
doing anything to find them, or like, how does that work for you guys?
It's like, I think it's open source in its purest sense. It's these people just appear. They start by not having that role, but they're answering questions and contributing really well to these discussions. And usually it's other helpers and maintainers that recognize these people. I'm the only person that I could actually like assign people roles. So it eventually just gets bubbled up. And now there's enough trust where like, if another helper says, hey, I think this person should be a helper, like I'm just like, sure, tagged it. Like, I don't look at what they've said. Like, I trust that you get the vibes. And yeah.
Pinker events is one good example of how do I not do things right now, for example, versus using actions is a very good example. But also like even code comments. I used to be like a lot about, documenting every single function name or every single property name. Not doing that anymore, ever. I just remove all comments now.
Okay, so then follow up. There's a lot of people that would want to contribute to open source, and kind of reciting back that video where the idea was don't contribute to open source. If there's somebody whose goal is to contribute to open source and find a community, and they just want to do that, because whether we like it or not, there's especially in many videos and many discussions about this saying, hey, don't, that shouldn't be your primary goal. There is a ton of, let's say, inverse advertising on Twitter where people are like, oh, I did open source and now I have this super cool job. And there's a bunch of people who want to have really cool jobs. They want to be able to work on these things they really love. And so they see open source as a means. So there's kind of like this competing conflict of don't do it, but also dream jobs over here with people doing it. So there's definitely a preserve. Oh my gosh.
I think there's
Reverse
two
incentive
different
there.
ways to approach it. Like, I think the one thing that we haven't discussed at all that I think is the most obvious path there is just like make something yourself that's yours instead of getting permission from anybody to do anything. I think that's like the easiest way to get started. You'll also learn a lot about the perspective of an open source maintainer if you build your own thing, and that's going to help you be a better contributor to other projects as well. And then the other side of it is, again, just like really be hyper focused on making contributions that are the maintainers are going to be grateful for, which again is like bug fixes, answering questions and discussions, like anything that just feels like, man, I'm glad this person is around, like they are helping me out. That's going to be how you get your foot in the door to start getting your ideas, I think, heard and listened to, and create those opportunities to actually submit PRs for more substantial features or things that people are going to benefit from other than like fixes and performance improvements and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, especially when it comes to like hiring or getting jobs, is like if you can create your own open source project, that I think is ideal. And related to what Mitchell said, like if I see someone apply and they've created some open source projects, I'm going to go out there and look at everything, like how the README set up, what the...
Dude, this is why I told you that your GitHub profile is the best CV you can have. Like, literally, if you have a nice GitHub profile with a bunch of contributions, with nice projects you have created, but also nice projects you have contributed to, that's the best CV you can have, honestly. And if the company you are applying for doesn't look for your GitHub repo, that's a red flag already, okay? Because the GitHub literally has all your code, how you write code, how you set up readmes, everything. The GitHub profile is probably one of the best places to expose yourself to good bosses, basically, to very nice jobs, I'm pretty sure when I applied for Laravel, that's pretty much what Taylor have checked, but yeah. Canada Rise is saying the following about the comments. Personally, I still like to having short comments. Dude, do the following. Like, literally, remove those comments. It will, like, stink for a week or two, but then you will actually enjoy not having those comments. Will be awesome, trust me. Back to Snacks is saying the following: I go out of my way to not write comments except pseudocode. Yeah, same man. I don't write comments anymore. Just typing comments, basically. DevBuds is saying the following: by the way, this is why my website never gets created. I'm paying for the server and domain since last 3 and 4 years, but my website never gets completed. You know what? Spend like a Saturday just getting that shit done. Just dedicate a Saturday to get it done, and you will get it done, man. Trust me. Just write better and understandable function names. Exactly, Diabel. You mean versus code comments. Exactly. Dev's buddy is saying the following: my current company hired me just by looking for my GitHub profile and what my projects I've worked on. Exactly, man. That's the GitHub profile is the best CV, man. And if you are applying to a company and you are sending the GitHub profile and they say something that, okay, well, we don't care about the GitHub profile or whatever, that's a red flag, like immediately. You know, Tuyak is saying the following: I noticed that actually very few people have meaningful GitHub repositories, maybe even don't have a public profile GitHub at all. I know, man, and honestly, that's just a bad idea. That is just a bad idea. By the way, 60 people watching on YouTube, but I guess I have only, let me see, only 33 likes. So YouTube people, go all the way down and like this video, please, for the God's sake, chat. For the God's sake. Carpi is saying the following: I think when you need to write a comment, it's just bad design most of the time. Ooh, spicy comment right there, man. Dicky Dev is saying the following: many of us just write code in company private repos and don't have much code in our personal GitHub. But private contributions still appear on the GitHub profile, you know? You still get a green graph at least. Can we get the like? Can we get for the likes? Filament Weep. Well, I have done some videos about Filament. I'm still owning you guys one video about Filament. Okay. Pierpal is saying that he gets email because of his GitHub profile. I told you, man. Of course. Dev's buddy is saying the following: I got hired just 1 hour. The CEO of my company just looked for my GitHub on my first interview. You see, man. People love that. Absolutely.
Big options look like all the taste type stuff that Mitchell mentioned. I'm going to look at like super close. And that's actually a lot more valuable if I can look at an entire project that you've created versus like a couple of PRs that are like sort of in isolation, where I might not get like a full read on how you really think about like presenting what you build, which to me is like the most important thing I'm interested in. Basically, if I'm hiring someone on Laravel's open source team, is just like these intangible taste type things. Of like
the README is almost always like more high stakes than the code. When I'm like reviewing.
Oh my God, this is so true, shit. Sometimes I'm like, someone is telling me, oh, I have this open source repo and it's awesome. It does this, does that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see the GitHub repo. And then I go to the README and that is a fucking nothing at all or something really random. And I'm like, oh my God, if the very first page of this project, it's like a bad taste like this, imagine like the actual features or implementation. It's like your house, man. It's like your outside door of your house. If it looks like crap, just imagine the inside.
Open source work.
Yeah, can you write well? Like, can you explain this well? I mean, that is valuable too.
I'll come at it from another angle. I think that if you, the way I got involved with open source, because I was one of those people that really looked up to open source. Like, I like really.
Chat, we need to tweet this. We need to tweet this ASAP. Do I have Twitter? Oh, I do. README. The README file is the most important file of your open source project. Here we go. The README file is the most important file of your project. Make sure you spend a bunch of time making it really good. Here we go, chat. We need to tweet this. Every time you learn something, chat, just tweet about that. That's something I always do all the time. Sometimes I'm during the day, like just basically working or whatever. Random ideas comes like this, and I just tweet about that. People love those kind of tweets, chat. You know what I mean?
Wanted to be like a Rails contributor. That was like the big thing I wanted to do, and I don't think I ever was. But I was like hunting for something to fix in there. But I think that, like, the best way that to go about it is to become a user of something, find an issue that you really want fixed, and then you be the change to fix that issue, and then join that community. And like, if someone comes into any open source community I've been a part of, has a really specific issue.
Sam Davy is saying the following: what if I spend ages on the doc and I haven't finished the code yet? That's actually good as well. You know, if you go to the GitHub README, watch this, chat, watch this. If you go to the supo.dev, okay, you click on the main repo, which is app, you have literally a nice README right now. Look at this. You know, I have literally the entire project right here, and the project is like very far away of being done. You guys see this? Like literally a nice README already where I explain clearly the project, what it's about and everything in the project with nice badges. And this is like not even close to done. We basically have the API or the main features, but just not a lot of stuff is done yet, you know. By the way, I hate you guys for putting like on my new profile picture. Okay, I literally said, give me 200 likes and I will change my profile picture. And guess what? You guys put 200 likes. I hate you all, by the way, because of that. Okay.
They want to fix and they seem genuine about it. There's usually somebody else in that community that will coach you through it. It may not be like the creator of the project, but I've seen this happen in Ghosty a lot where we've had maintainers be like, it's a subsystem expert that could fix that in 30 minutes, but because this new person comes, they're being kind, they're obviously researched the problem, educated. They're like, you know what, I'm going to help you through this. Look at this file. So it's somewhere around there. If you have questions, let me know. And you know, you go off and work on it, come back, and that's usually a pretty high bar. And then by the time you make it a PR, that other maintainer could come in and like vouch for you, basically. Like it's your work, but it was coached and apprenticed, whatever you want to call it, and that is pretty common, like pretty old school open source, and it works really well still in the right projects.
That's literally what happened to me for my.
By the way, I also don't like the word hate. I think like you guys should avoid the word hate all the time, and I apologize if I have said that. Typically, like when discussing stuff, the hate word is actually something like crumpy. It's like something that you shouldn't say you shouldn't basically say that word ever. Because it has like a totally different meaning from, I typically don't like it's much more better than hate.
Like I was the person that got help on my first open source contribution for NeoVim. I was like playing around with some stuff. You could put a separator to put stuff on the left side or the right side of the status line. I was like, well, I kind of want to put something in the middle. Like, what the heck? Search the issues. And I didn't even know anything about Git or GitHub at the time. But I found one. And I was like, hey, I'd like to work on this. I don't know what to do, basically, like, sort of in a much longer way and nicer. And someone like said, hey, you can go check out this file. You can go do this stuff. So I was like, okay, I opened up a PR. That same person came in and helped me in the PR. And then eventually we had, some back and forth from a few other people. But like trying to write tests, trying to explain what I was doing, trying to make sure that like, hey, I don't know how to do the code style things for this, like what do you guys do, and then like that was my eventually got merged like into NeoVim, and that was my first contribution that I had, which then like jump started me to doing a bunch of other stuff. But it was literally like I didn't even understand what open source was. I was just literally a really dumb college kid who was like playing with my NeoVim config, and I wanted my status line to look different. I was like, I don't know, I'll just be nice and like try and figure out what can happen. And then like that worked out really well, and I mean in a lot of ways changed the trajectory of my career as well. Yeah,
I had this really similar experience in high school where I couldn't get into Rails, but I found this like Rails CMS.
Dude, it's crazy. Like all of these people, I was in high school, I was like 15, I was already a Rails contributor. Jesus Christ, man. When I was 15, I was literally playing soccer all the time. On university, I was literally drunk all the time too. So I was not even like, doing anything whatsoever. All these people are like fucking genius. Hey, Pick and Flow, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream, dude.
And
By the way, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do, and today we are reacting to the Primeagen, Otwell, Adam Wathan, TJ, and Mitchell discussing about open source. If you are enjoying today's content, just go all the way down, and like this video. Okay, click on the like button. Also subscribe to this channel if you can. All of you Twitchers, go also to my YouTube channel and subscribe my channel. All right.
I wanted to, they were asking for help. So I was like, I will do this. And so I came in guns blazing, made massive, it wasn't, GitHub didn't exist yet. So I made match.
Gibel is saying Nuno is not a good role model. I mean, I made some mistakes in life like everyone else. I was a kid, but something I am at the moment is hardworking, man. Basically, starting my 25 years old, I actually started to be really hardworking. And I think like all my career right now reflects a little bit of that.
Like patch sets I was emailing around, and this guy came out and basically like a dad, really felt like a dad. Like
Sticky Dev is saying the following: do you call that mistakes? Yeah, I don't think it was mistakes, honestly. I think I would regret, like, for example, I went to university, right? And I was basically, partying with my friends over there. I think like right now, if I would have like, study all the time, instead of actually just enjoying life, when I was in university, I would have regretted it hardcore right now. I would have been super sad right now, thinking, "Fuck, what the fuck I was even doing?" I have an entire life to be old. Why I was being an old man when being in university? Just enjoy a little bit. So I kind of, I'm kind of happy about that, if I'm honest.
Told me and was like, "Whoa, slow down. Like, slow down. You're doing too much. We need tests." I had never heard of unit tests. So I remember I wrote a response, probably on the internet somewhere. I wrote a response being like, "No, I tested it. I opened my browser and it works. I clicked around, it works." And,
That's
I didn't
more
know
than a
unit
lot of
tests worked.
contributors.
Tuakai is saying the following: the journey is more important than the destination. Yeah, I also feel like literally sometimes the destination is just not a good goal. Some people like their destination is just being rich. And that's not a, you can have that, but if you don't have like happiness aside, if you don't have like a good family life aside, if you don't have nice friends to be with, like what the money will do for you, will just bring you emptiness, totally emptiness. So, I think like in life there must be, you need to have balance, balance with your family, balance with your sports. I talk with you about that all the time. Like, if you are fucking rich when you are like 40 or 50, but you are like fat or whatever, or you just don't simply, have a bunch of health problems, it doesn't pay off. Like, why would you want that amount of money if you cannot do anything? So be sure to go to the gym. That's TLDR. Go to the gym every single day. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. and I remember him scolding me again.
Vic and Flo is saying the following: you could be rich and be a React dev and be miserable. Absolutely, man. Adrian is saying, do you know how many repos you have contributed to? Pfft, more than 100 for sure. Easy.
I remember going to school because I was still in high school, and I was like seething because I was like, who's this old man who's getting in the way of stuff that works? And I was so mad. It's like such a classic teenager egotistical angst thing. And he ended up teaching me so much. I like somehow came around to like calming down and listening to him and breaking it down. And
what is this? Adrian just sent me this. 1 second, chat. Open door me. What is? Can I open this safely, dude, on stream? There will be ads or shit like that? Okay, no. Woof. Oh my fucking god, what is this? Nuno Maduro has contributed to 209 repos. Well, I said 100, but that's Blade, C, C#, CSS, Java, JavaScript, Makefile, Other, PHP, Python, Ruby, Rust, Shell, Smarty, TypeScript, and Vue. Algolia, yeah, a bunch of Algolia. What is this? Oh, I've contributed to one project of his. Yeah. That's awesome, by the way. That's a nice project. I like this project. Okay, chat? Here he goes. I'm going to send you guys a link. Here we go.
he taught me so much, and I think I see that a lot too. There's so many really talented, now as me being the old man, like there's so many talented young people that come into open source guns blazing, implementing the most impressive shit, but like leaving a path of destruction along the way and not interacting with the community and blah blah blah. And yeah, there's a lot of like soft skills
Soft
to
skills, yeah. I was just thinking that, chat. Soft skills is something really important, and sometimes, I have worked a bunch of soft skills in the last 2 years because literally went to people and I said like, dude, do you think like I'm a nice person to work with? Can you tell me something that you think that I could be even better in terms of soft skills? And some people told me like you need to hear a little bit more the other people. You need to, maybe before closing a pull request, try to understand their angle or whatever. Because in my life, I always thought that I am like the master of coding or whatever. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes the other persons have a different angle on the contribution. So be sure to hear their thoughts and also to understand, to make them feel as well like important on the project. You cannot simply just close a pull request or whatever. You need to hear their angles. You need to discuss the solution, maybe find a midterm or whatever. That's also important. So chat, work on your soft skills. Very important.
sure on and learn about this process.
All right, so a lot of you, or I mean, everyone here has been in charge of, at least for some period of time, of a large open source project.
By the way, Joe Moreau is asking if he can share a nice open source project. We have a Discord channel. I just shared the link right there. Go to that Discord channel. We are there every single day. You can share your idea there, and then we discuss there.
And Taylor, you said that you should just create one yourself. Now that you've kind of gone through the process of creating one yourself, have had a lot.
Dibel is saying the following: like my last co-workers, I don't mind if the person is not the best coder or good at problem solving, but at least I'm being honest and trying. But also, like, if someone is being an asshole with you, it's not because they are like bad people. They have that temper and they have been like that forever. And nobody actually told them like, dude, that's not correct. That's not okay. So you can just literally talk to them and say something like, dude, you have reacted this way with me. And I think this could have been a little bit better, this communication. And you could have said something like this, and then I would have reacted differently, and it would have been much better working with you if you were to be like that. And, and then the other person needs to embrace that with some dose of being humble and say, well, I do understand that I was an asshole, and I apologize about my behavior, and I would love to be a little bit different next time.
A lot of success, creating yours, seeing the troubles and the upsides of it. Is it even worth it to create these open source things? And I mean that in a genuine sense. I'm not trying to meme, because like my time running an open source project, 2015, 2016, the amount of just like vitriol and annoyance and just made my life demonstrably worse is the reason why I've largely never gone back to open source. I'll do source available, but I just don't really want to ever deal with that again. And so I've had like a very opposite, I guess, experience. And so I'm just curious, like, is it really actually something people should all strive for, is to create open source projects?
I mean, I can only speak from like my experience over the long term. There's definitely been very dark days in open source, right? Where it like literally distracts from like my personal life or like my family life because of negative things people have said about the project, especially in its like nascent years when it was still like growing and things like that. And it like really got me down. But I think over the long term, like over a period of years, like the people I've met and the things I've gotten to do because of open source, like far outweigh not doing it, at least, for me. There's definitely ups and downs, as you said, and sometimes it feels like there's more downs than ups in the short term, but in the long term, like the places I've gotten to go or the people I've met online and built things together, to me, I think I'll look back on those times with like a lot of fond memories and like gratitude. It's really some of the best years of my life, so it's been a very positive thing. But yeah, I mean, that being said, it can definitely be a slog, and you kind of have to be mentally prepared to like grow some calluses, and like be willing to just like let some mean stuff fall off of you when people say it. But overall, I think it's been a positive thing.
By the way, this is so true, man. Sometimes I remember like doing open source work and just being so down. And what would piss me off is that I would be with my wife, for example, just enjoying a nice movie, and I would be like just not a nice company at that day because I was just thinking about work all the time and just being an asshole. And that would piss me off even more. Like just thinking like I'm not being nice, I'm not giving a good moment to my wife right now because I'm thinking about work. That would just destroy me inside, basically. That would happen because of negative feedback online sometimes I had with open source work. But honestly, not anymore. Not anymore. When I read like feedback on my open source stuff, I just make an automatically triage in my head. If it's something that if it's honestly a good feedback, not a mean one, I do read it and I do care about that. But if it's a mean feedback, I just ignore it immediately. Diabel, thank you so much for subscription tier 1 on Twitch. 10 months already. I appreciate you. Really missed the emojis. I'm sorry, man. I need to work on that. Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Anybody else? Mitchell, you're like a chronic open sourcer. You must enjoy this process. And obviously, by the way, considering everybody here has been doing it for like a decade, and you've just given tips where people are like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it this way. You've obviously solved some of these problems in your experience.
It's probably just a kink. I'm just like the monk that like is just like whipping himself in the mirror. Like it's probably just that. It's not healthy, probably. But no, I mean, I like it. There's a bunch of negativity associated with it, but I think I was on the commercial closed source side, like founder CEO thing, and I think Adam and Taylor, you're all on that side too now. But it's the pasture's always greener on the other side. Like you get the same thing on that side, sort of like different ways. But at least like with open source, I feel like.
So what Primeagen has here is a layer, basically. This is just a layer on OBS. So he has a green screen behind it, like a green screen behind it. And then he had this, I think even his microphone is a layer at the moment. I think this microphone is a layer, okay? Adrian, thank you so much for the subscription on Prime. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Pick and Flow. Thank you so much for 2 tier 1 subs, man. Appreciate the gift. You are awesome, man. You are absolutely awesome.
You could walk away from a lot of things that you can't in the same way when you're on the corporate side, and also you are like kind of doing much more. I mean, you're giving away a lot, and that's really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I think depending on what your goals are, it can definitely be a good thing to explore. Like getting back to, okay, if you want to create better opportunities for finding cool jobs, I think creating open source projects is good for that, especially if you work somewhere where it's hard to sort of show the code that you write or show what you're capable of because everything's closed source and under NDA or whatever. An open source project is something you totally control, where you can just like show people exactly how you would do things if it were up to you, which is really cool in that sense. And then echoing what Taylor said, I think it is a really good way to just sort of like meet new people who are excited and interested in the same things in the sort of sphere of programming. I don't really know any other ways to do it within that sort of hobby. Like if I compare it to other things I used to be interested in, like open source is almost like replaced what like niche message boards used to be for me for other things that I used to be into, where you would meet people and talk about music or whatever, So I think that's just kind of like where you do it now with
the networking aspect of open source. But like even here on the chat, in our YouTube Twitch small community we have built here, it's just so important, man, honestly. Especially open source is even more important because, I know friends of mine who have contributed to open source of mine, and now they are very well placed. It all started because of this initial work. Because, sometimes people come to me and ask me, do you know a very good designer that, which is good with React and good with Figma as well? And I'm like, well, I actually just work with this guy right here on this specific project, and bam, that will skyrocket the guy immediately and get him a nice position. But also, like, even on backend code, sometimes I remember working with this dude on the past website, for example, and then I can just recommend that dude to someone who is, asking me for another guy. Open source to literally make your career better is just such a high jump over there.
Yeah.
With programming stuff.
I think
but,
another.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say, I think another thing for me, I think Mitchell and Adam and I, and Teej with NeoVim, we've all been lucky that our open source projects are like very widely used, and tons of people around the world are using.
Agent is saying, I have contributed to PASS before, and I even use it now, and I cannot testing without it. Well, that is that, but also like Agent, let's be realistic. Like if at Laravel, for example, someone questions me, oh, do you know someone who would be a good fit for backend Laravel code or whatever? I'll probably mention your name, I will probably mentioning your name because you have worked with me on these various projects, and I could potentially say, well, I know these people. I can mention like 5 people, and you would be there. So that's why networking in open source is so important. Back in Snacks is saying the following: I dislike giving out recommendations, and I end up losing an awesome resource every time. Oh no, yeah, but sometimes you can give recommendations of people who are not directly working with you at the moment.
Using them, and I like find it very satisfying and like a big privilege to like we get to work on tools that people use every day, right? Like I use Ghosty every day. I use Tailwind every day. I don't use NeoVim every day. Sorry, Teej.
Wait, what?
But lots of people do.
Taylor, you've been lying in our texts.
And it's like this big privilege, to provide these tools that can make people's.
Taylor is probably still on Sublime Text at the moment. I think he's still on Sublime Text, honestly. The guy just uses Sublime Text all the time.
Professional life a little bit more enjoyable, and I find that like a really satisfying like thing, and something I take like really serious as a privilege. Like, look, not many people get to impact this many people around the world, in small ways, and like it's really cool that we get to do that, and I find that satisfying and fun to work on, and like that's why
I'm not using Ghostly at the moment. I'm using iTerm2 and Eper Terminal.
Like still enjoy improving the framework, because if I improve Laravel, it's like this cool way I get to improve people's lives around the world in small ways.
Yeah, I agree.
I've felt the same way like when I was making Telescope initially for NeoVim, and like people were using it, and I was really surprised because that one was much more like me versus like I did contributions to NeoVim, but that was like in a system that was already there. Like making Telescope was like kind of me by myself and getting messages from.
So I think like TJ, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. If any of you is a NeoVim user, let me know. But I think TJ have contributed to something called a Telescope, which is like the Explorer tree that you see on Vim, basically. So if you have a Vim project open, for example, you would just navigate on the structure of the project using Telescope, which I think TJ is actually the creator of that tool.
People like, oh, I'm in Japan and I'm using this. I'm like, what the heck? That's crazy. That's a like very fun part of it. And like one difficulty I think is like a caution for people is like allowing yourself to have those like good experiences, but then still not like associating yourself so personally with the thing that when someone doesn't like it, you're like, oh, they hate me. I'm a bad person. Right? Because like when you let yourself get like wrapped up emotionally in the project, which is fine, you gotta like still kind of like put up that wall of like, yeah, I'm not gonna please everybody and my project's not for everyone. Some people are just gonna think I'm really annoying. Okay, that's okay. That's just life. So that would be one caution I would give to people like who are in the open source world or like starting their own stuff is like, it's good to allow some of those nice things to happen, but don't take it too much to heart because there was an angry person at the keyboard on a Wednesday afternoon or something.
I mean, we all probably deal with angry people every day. I think a big part of like open source maturity from a maintainer side is learning how to not let that get to you.
Yeah.
And there's various strategies, but yeah, and the bigger you get, the weirder also the anger gets. But it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I have.
It takes a long time, in my experience, to be able to not let it get under your skin. But I do feel like in the last couple of years, it really doesn't bother me at all the way that it used to.
So
The
I think
other
one
thing
thing
I would just
sorry, you
like,
go.
sorry, Brian. The
No,
other
you
thing
go.
I'd say too is just like, when like open source is in some ways about like no expectations in some ways, right? Like both like I'm gonna make something, I can't expect people to use it just because I worked hard on it. Like if you do that, you're setting yourself up for a bad time. Or like when you contribute, I I get a comment back is a blessing from the maintainer's time. Like they owe me nothing. So like when I send a issue or a contribution or whatever, like I think a lot of people they like hear a story and they say, "Oh, that person got a job from a successful open source project. I'm going to write open source and then I'm going to get 1 million TC this year, baby. 6 months later, I'm 1 million TC." And you're like, first off, that wasn't the story you heard. But secondly, like putting those expectations like on the contributions or the contributors or the maintainers, that's like I think where
Shinky Hells is saying the following: Hanger I can handle, but people trying to coerce me to merge their pull requests really gets me. Dude, I feel you, man. I feel you. You know, you need to be respectful. If you are contributing to something and the maintainer just simply doesn't want to do that, you need to be ready for the no, basically. Okay. Neil Pointer is saying pre-watched. Yeah, at the moment we are far behind the live stream. It's because I want to react to what people are talking about, you know. Diabella is saying the following: I read so many issues where I was astonished how rude people are on pull requests. Oh, dude, you have no idea. You should see my private messages. Like sometimes people are just fucking hassles publicly with you. And then behind the scenes, they are like, "Oh, I really respect your work. You know, I don't really meant to say that." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, what the fuck?
a lot of people take a fast track to having a really bad time.
All right, so Mitchell, you have probably the most unusual group of maintainers because as far as I can tell, the Adam and Taylor, they're much more on the website. There's probably a little bit more of an intersection as far as the technology goes. People who use Laravel are intimately familiar with Tailwind. There's going to be a lot of crossover there, but you're in a Zig land in a language that's relatively hot, relatively new, still not at 1.0, and you know even the recent 15 update, which you said had a really good impact on your build times, also required some basic changes throughout the project as well. I used Cursor, and it actually was able to make something build by just being like, fix it, make it into the new version, and it was awesome. So what is it? Because I only kind of have an idea of how things work.
So typically, like when I'm reacting to content like this, it's kind of funny because on Twitch, for example, there is always a lot of people when I react to content like this. Not on YouTube. People on YouTube prefer a little bit more coding stuff. You know, I don't know. I like both. I like both. I usually have more fun when I'm discussing with you all the time. You know, so if I can do something where I'm interacting with the chat all the time, I like it much better.
Work in the web world. What is maintaining a project on that side? Is it similar? Is there just equally amount of people that just come in hot and angry? Is there more because then everybody's a neckbeard and has the ideal way everything should be done? Or like I don't know how the feel is of it all.
Yeah, it all feels pretty similar. I mean, I think you get a lot more for sure. I mean, I think in particular, Ghost to being like a Linux desktop application, you get a lot more of the highly opinionated, my blessed setup must be supported kind of ways. You know, I've been on the website as well, and my experience with the website is there's a lot more uniformity in a way. Obviously, there's tons of like edge cases you have to deal with, but it's a lot easier to reproduce things. There's generally a lot more uniformity in terms of setups. There's only, like practically speaking, there's only a handful to a dozen sort of like browser configurations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this was my experience that I had to really care about. There's a long tail of like other stuff, and I feel like Mac is fine. Mac desktop development totally fine, pretty constrained set, but Linux is a sprawling kind of nightmare, and I'm committed to supporting it because I use it myself. But we recently like took a stand, for example, with I tweeted some tongue-in-cheek version of it, but we just took a stand on input issues because we were just getting so many people being like, I use this custom keyboard with this custom firmware with like.
So a difference between Ghostly and other tools is that Ghostly is actually written to be native in your device, where things like Keeper, they are basically native not native, but they are like React Native apps. Basically, they are just a browser that renders JavaScript that looks like a terminal. That's why Ghostly is so performant, because it's literally bare metal performance.
And layers, and when I and I only speak Russian, but I live in Norway, and when I type this character, this shows up, and it just reached a point where like I'm sure that's a real issue, but like I'm so burnt out on input bugs on Linux, because everything is just so heterogeneous that you need to fix it yourself. Like the number of people experience this issue is so small, it's you. So you need to fix it, or it's just not going to get fixed. So I think stuff like that is new to me, and I'm figuring it out. And then in terms of the actual maintainers themselves, good maintainers don't care too much about the language. So Zig, I would say most of our maintainers have been excited to use Zig, didn't use Zig before, just picked it up to learn it. That's fine. It's more of like you're finding that like systems knowledge type stuff. This is a lower level piece in the stack, and it's been a new community for me, but they've been great.
I built a small tower defense in Zig, and it was a very enjoyable time in 0.13. And so I assume it's relatively the exact same language in 0.15. But I am actually just curious. I know this is going way off topic. You've now built what would be considered a fairly large, now run for enough time to be able to really see kind of what life's like as you make a bunch
Wait,
of...
what? Some lags? What do you mean, DFL? Chat, is the streamer okay for everyone? I'm seriously thinking about changing from Streamlabs to fucking another thing, because this is literally lagging all the time. So if any of you experience like literally not lagging, but experience me like broken FPSs or whatever, let me know.
changes as you have to fix a bunch of bugs. How has the process of using Zig been on such a large project?
Appreciate.
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, we have to we read and integrate with C and C++ code all the time as a comparison, and just from there, building and understanding and maintaining is just a totally different level. And
YouTube, by the way, let me know how the stream is for you all.
there's most of the maintainers in our group are also like professional C programmers, and so these aren't amateurs. We're trying, we read Chrome, Firefox, and WebKit source code all the time, because basically browsers.
It's jittery for alpha for so I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I have the bitrate at 3000 at the moment. I am streaming only to Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter at the moment, so only 3 streams. Something is happening, I don't know what it is. I contacted Streamlabs support. They give me like a fucking... They asked me to restart my router and shit like that, man. It's just, oh my god. Do you know when you ask for support and they ask you for restart your laptop? Like, what the fuck? I know that, I know all the basic stuff. Just fix my problem, you know what I mean? Just go with OPS. I may just go with OPS if this continues. Honestly, because it's just really ridiculous at the moment.
Solved font rendering, and so any sort of font rendering issues we learn from browsers. And
so Patrick is saying that he freezes sometimes. Okay, I have to fix this. Like, I need to find basically a solution for this. I don't know what it is and how, basically, but I need to find a solution. Maybe like the solution is reduce the how is it called? Because basically right now, maybe YouTube has a little bit more lag than Twitch, because I'm streaming almost in real time for YouTube at the moment, but not for Twitch. So I don't know anymore, basically. So Agent is saying that it's fine today. So I don't even know anymore, because some people say it's fine. Some people are saying it's just freezing sometimes. Like, what the fuck?
we're reading that all the time, and it's good code. Honestly, all of those are the highest quality.
Dude, the Streamlabs support basically said, make sure you are using the latest version of your drivers and that you restart your router and MacBook too. And I'm like, dude.
C++ you're going to find. And it's incredible how difficult it is to read that compared to the equivalent Zig. So I think that Zig's been hugely successful for us. Each minor release, which is a pretty major release for Zig, 0.12, we started pre-0.10, and so we've done 0.10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 now. Each one is significant. 0.15 took me about 3 weeks, and that was after a maintainer already spent another 3 weeks making it all work. But because of the the seriousness of the changes, I had to redo it all myself. I trust them, but like I just have to understand it myself. So I went and redid it.
Imagine the stream title: I'm about to rebuild OBS in PHP. It would be so successful, chat.
And I was able to hit roadblocks.
By the way,
and just
Mitchell
copy
is literally sharing his history about using Zig for Ghostly.
from theirs and be like, oh, they figured it out for me, nice, and then learn something. And it still took me 3 weeks. And so that's like, I think I've said this before. I still think Zig is too early for like, a company to use it reliably for a product. Like that would be kind of a waste of time for a startup to be doing. But I think it's heading in the right direction, and I love it.
All right. Well, do we have any final words on open source? Anybody have anything else you want to contribute to on contributing the right way to open source?
It's Hacktober, baby.
I never really cared about the Oktoberfest. Does any of you guys ever join with like the Oktoberfest thing? Write on the chat if you have. Right? Yes.
I was laughing. We were talking about it before you came on, Prime, of like, this was what I was thinking too. Will LLMs in the future, when it's October, be more likely to create README updates because of the source training data? Because they have the system prompt at the time, just like how it gets lazier in the summer, especially if it's Claude. They also have this problem that forever in perpetuity, October will be documentation update month for LLMs. They refuse to do any other work.
The old October surprise, I believe, is what they call that.
It's a different context, actually. But yes.
Okay. Actually,
I think it's a whole topic, but I think it's a whole topic. But I think there's a whole new frontier, and I would actually be really curious how Adam and Taylor are receiving this. But there's a whole new frontier of like contributing with LLMs in your toolkit, and that's like changing a lot of my viewpoints on how to be a good contributor. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any LLM driven PRs to our stuff yet, honestly.
I do see all the time, chat. Honestly, those pull request descriptions full of the LLM shit is just crazy.
Really? You don't get like the PRs with like they all have the same basic
I don't know, maybe the dudes on
The headers and the
every single
emoji.
sentence.
Yeah, the bullet
You
points
guys,
are all
if
the
you're
same.
submitting a PR with AI and you don't want to get caught, at least tell it no emojis. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
minimum.
not
Let me look at, like, the
having each line
last-
be an emoji.
I get them every day. I get several a day actually.
I
Really?
get one a day at least. What's funny, Taylor, is you said earlier that new contributors, you look at their GitHub repos and stuff. I do the same thing. I like GitHub docs them a little bit and try to figure out what they're about, and where they work, and what they're doing, why they're contributing here, whatever. And the quickest way that I'm like, oh, this is gonna be some slop, is you find like a ton of AI like crap. And I'm not anti-AI. I gotta say that I'm not anti-AI.
Yeah.
I literally spend like $25 a day in AMP tokens. I love it, but
Oh yeah, I'm so into Cloud Code at the moment, chat. Honestly, if you guys are using LLMs at the moment, just go with Cloud Code. It's just so good. It's just fucking impressive, honestly, how good it is. Yesterday, I've made a full application. Like I had this demo today at work that I needed to do some sort of Laravel app with something. And I had like 4 hours to do it because it was late yesterday. I had like only 4 hours. Today I wanted to stream and also went to the gym and everything. And basically I just, with Cloud Code, I built an entire application, man. An entire application with Cloud Code. It was just so impressive, honestly. Because of my starter kits at the moment, because I have my own starter kits, like that's why tooling is even more important right now. Because I have my own starter kits and they are super into, type safety, type coverage, type unit tests in XYZ, blah, blah, blah. The LLM has to run like composer tests to be fully complete with the feature. So we'll just basically actually deliver very good code. And yesterday we have done a bunch of this. I have done a bunch of this, and I was able to deliver a full app with this shit.
yeah, there's some bad stuff out there.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you're the one that convinced me to re-give a inline autocomplete another shot. Been using Supermaven since then.
Neil Pointer is asking if I have tried OpenCode. Yes, I did. Yeah, OpenCode I believe would be the same thing as Cloud Code, honestly. So I haven't changed Junior's model yet. I need to try that, Adrian.
Oh, cool.
And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because you said that you just do not think that any developer should ever not at least have that. You said something along the line that was
Yeah.
exceptionally, what's it called? Very, like, strong stance.
Strong.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, I remember that.
emphatic. That was the word I was looking for.
I remember that, and I'm actually really sad because tab complete and inline complete hasn't been down in like a very long time, and it's really nice when it's down because that's when I close my laptop and don't work for the day.
Oh my god, this is so true. Have you guys? Probably all of you are using GitHub Copilot for auto completion. Let me know in the chat if you are not. But it's just without internet connection, I'm not able to code anymore. It's just so true, honestly. I mean, the other day I was like trying to code without internet connection, and I was like, holy shit. I cannot get anything done. Like, I'm so less productive without LLMs and auto completion and everything. That is so surprising. And Def Null is saying, Jesus, I thought I was watching Primeagen is stream again. No, this is just React, man. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. I appreciate. There are other 2i coding agents available, David Hill is saying. David Hill, we need to have a conversation, you know what I mean? We need to have a conversation. I miss you, Jude. I miss you a bunch, man. But yeah, I mean, coding without internet connection is just became such a thing, you know? We need to tweet about that, honestly, because it's just so hilarious. Have you guys tried to code without internet connection in 2025? Good luck. Good luck with that. Oh my god. Here we go, chat. What is that? Oh, here we go.
If like Copilot or like more of those could go down, that'd be sweet.
All right. Well,
Taylor, I'm interested to hear more about like, and Mitchell, you too, because I know you both have been talking about it. Like, someone submits a PR, you're pretty sure it's AI, or like not.
So Dicky Dev is saying the following: isn't PHP Storm AI auto completion local? I think it is, and I got surprised by that now. Basically, the other day I was doing a demo for Laracon US, and I really wanted to have that auto completion, but still don't have internet connection. And I noticed like, holy shit, I get nice AI auto completion locally, but I'm not sure if they swap that when they understand that you don't have internet connection, because I'm pretty sure I'm using GitHub Copilot. So I think like when I don't have internet connection, it just swaps and uses the local thing.
And not like, oh, they carefully walked through an agent workflow over 10 hours and did all of this, but like, fix this for me, big bug number 7, and then just like, well, I did it. What's the workflow for that? What would be like the better way for someone to try and, if they're using LLMs, to do that? Like, what are your thoughts there?
For me, the best experiences I've had with slop in particular is if you're honest that you have no idea what's going on. If someone throws a PR up, and this has happened like once a week probably, where they say, I used whatever, Codex, Claude Code to fix this bug. I don't know Zig. I don't know anything that it did, but I'm just sharing it with you. That's actually helpful because I don't need to do like a deep review. I could just look at it and like get a quick, like, this is heading in the right direction, interesting. Or I could be like, okay, thanks, this looks pretty bad. I'm going to close it. Glad it works for you, or whatever. The problem is when people post slop and they're like really serious about, confident about that they should be merged and be fixed. And so from the slop angle, that's what I would say. And so we require AI disclosure in our project, but that's part of the reason.
Oh, wow. AI disclosure. So basically you need to say if you have used AI. I mean, I use AI all the time, so my AI disclosure would be always, yes, I have used AI for this.
Do you actually get people that do AI disclosure? Like, does everybody do it, or have you like caught somebody and be like, wait a second, that argument's all goofy and it's ordering. I know you use slop, and then like, dang it, you got me.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear what Taylor has to say, but I'll say on that point, it's been really successful. I would say we catch probably like 1 or 2 people a week that don't disclose, but also I think everybody except one person, it just was an accident. They're like, oh, I didn't read that. Yeah, here it is. But there was one person that super tried to hide it, and I eventually you can find it. I eventually got to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to like, this is not productive.
The thing is that, do we even care if it's AI contributing to open source? Like, for example, if you are contributing with a bug fix, do you, as a maintainer, do you even care if a guy have used AI or not? Like, does that even matter? I mean, all of us will be using this shit. Like, it's very likely that literally all of us won't have to type on the keyboard anymore. You just interact visually and through voice with Cloud Code, and you are just basically reviewing code all the time. It's very likely that coding in the future will look like this. It's already like this, if we are honest. Like, I'm opening Cloud Code, and the only thing I'm doing is just interacting with the chat, basically. I think at the moment, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I write way more code on stream at the moment with you all than I do actually for work. Because if I were to just be on Cloud Code on streams, that would be super boring.
If you can't be honest about your AI usage,
Canada
trust
Raz is
literally.
saying next stream idea developing using voice commands. Honestly, just interacting with Cloud Code through voice. Oh, that's actually a very good idea. That's actually a very good idea. Like, literally, having Cloud Code just being able to accept your voice. That's actually a fucking great idea, honestly. But yeah, chat, it's very likely that in the future you guys won't be typing anymore. You just interact with using your voice.
Anything else you're doing, so I'm just gonna close this.
Yeah, we get quite a bit of noise, and I mean, I can echo what Mitchell says about, like, it's helpful if they tell me they're using AI, because I want to know their confidence in what they're submitting. A lot of times it feels like they're just like shooting in the dark.
EDT is saying that Aaron Francis has a great video YouTube where he uses prompts with using his voice. Oh, really? We need to check that. Can you send me the link, please?
And honestly, what I'm seeing a lot lately is like refactoring PRs, where it looks like what has happened is the contributor has like fired up Claude Code and been like, find a refactoring opportunity in the ORM of Laravel,
so real.
and just let it come up with some random refactoring, and they've then submitted that PR. Like, that's what it feels like is happening on a fairly regular basis.
Oh, it is happening. I can tell you that.
Which is, I don't know. It's not super helpful, and probably not how I would go about contributing to open source.
Taylor, say it how you really feel. No one's even listening. It's fine. There's nobody out here. Tell us how
Fuck
you
those
really
people.
Yeah.
You know what?
There you go, Adam.
Yeah, I don't know. I action PRs really quickly, so I have to action like 20 PRs a day, or they're gonna get ahead of me. And so like I just really quickly close those. Like it's not even a second thought, because I just don't have time to really mess with it.
Yeah. No, there is something to that where, on the inverse side, for those that are making PRs, just simply making a PR
Oh,
because
the
something
home
fixed.
person came. I'm gonna drop.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Mitchell.
See you, Mitchell.
Thanks, dude. See ya.
All right, Mitchell has to drop. He had someone coming over to his house to do some fixing, and so he pre-warned us that it was going to happen at any moment. So he's gone. All right. There is something to be said on the end. If you're attempting to contribute to open source, and you want to fix something, you don't know how to get started, and you do just simply follow whatever the LLM says. You don't actually take the time to look at like why are the things in place. You don't debug your way through, printf it, whatever you do. It is like you are wasting someone else's time. And I think there's something big to that, because it's going to take a big hit to your credibility. Like if you do that enough times, you're going to like ruin your relationships with people.
If you do it one time.
Yes.
Because that's your first impression.
That is your first impression.
It's like 1,000 times more impactful if it's the first thing you submit to repo is, I don't know what this does and I'm going to pretend that I do. I will never trust you again.
True. See,
Like-
the thing is that I have Began, who also submits a bunch of what's it called? AI
We
generated
know
stuff,
him,
but I
though.
love Began, and so I let it slide,
know
even
him,
though I'm
it's
like,
different.
stop it, Began. Stop it. So, just a thought.
Yeah, so Taylor, you're saying you're seeing this a lot though?
Oh yeah, every day for sure.
And the range is like, for you, is it most of them are just like this random refactor thing, or is it like for social?
I do think like GitHub will have to adjust themselves a little bit to this stuff, honestly. Like if a random bot can just do random pull requests everywhere, GitHub will have to adjust themselves a little bit to this stuff. I don't know how.
With an issue, like I'm kind of interested in sort of this.
It's a
distribution.
lot
How
of
are
the
people getting
late.
here?
lately over the last few months, it's a lot of the random refactoring, and it will
Really?
the PR title will literally be Refactor X, and
Yeah.
there will be no like bug that is being
Typically, by the way, chat, refactoring in general is always a bad idea as a pull request because the code is working. Like, and even the other day, like if you guys go to the past PHP's website, like this one, the backend code is something I have written 5 years ago. And someone was saying, "Oh, what do you think about we really cleaned the backend code so it really looks perfect?" And I was like, "Why? It's working. Will continue to work for the next 20 years perfectly. So why would you refactor the backend code? Like, it doesn't make any sense." So typically, like, you want to refactor something when something is not working. You want to improve things, make it faster, or but like refactoring just for the sake of refactoring so you can feel a better software engineer doesn't make any sense.
fixed or no like performance improvement. It's just like code organization or like method extraction or just some random thing like that it just doesn't really have any net benefit. And like if the code's already working, why would I merge this when this has the potential?
Rudolph is saying the following: I started using AI a lot, and it's doing great if I create the proper rules. Guys, check Laravel Boost package. Yeah, I mean, Laravel Boost is essential. Honestly, if you are not using Laravel Boost already, you are just wasting a bunch of LLM being smart with your project. So I actually want to share a tip with you that you can do. In your system prompt, always put this thing. If I tell you to not do something in this way, make sure you adjust your own system prompt so you don't make that mistake again. That is really helpful, Chad. That is really, really helpful.
Potential to make it not work anymore.
Yeah. That is kind of a bizarre thing to do because I guess I've been around software long enough to know that drive-by refactors almost exclusively just
EDT is saying last one posting a link. Yeah, this is a good idea, man. DML knows about this shit. So if he says that it's not a good idea to post links, maybe it's not a good idea. Honestly, it's actually smart that people are not able to post links. Otherwise, you can just post a bad link over there, and then I would be responsible because it's on my stream, man. Dev's Buddy is saying the following about refactoring. Refactoring is unnecessary until it solves some problem that current code has. Exactly. If you're refactoring just to make it more, more beautiful or whatever, nobody cares. Okay? You are not solving an actual problem. Okay? Florentine Flo is saying the following. Hi, guys. I love Laravel. Thank you so much. I love Laravel too, man. Kenneth Rice is saying the following. Yeah, refactoring for no benefit is like treating water. Exactly.
end in sadness. And so it just seems like a weird way to try to like meet somebody for the first time and also be like, I rewrote part of your code. Oh, what'd you get me? Nothing. I just made it different. You're like, I don't know if I like how is that trade-off? Like, how does that trade-off even exist where you're like, this is a good idea. This is a good place to start a relationship on.
I mean, my guess is people want to be able to put I refactored Laravel code into a resume and try and leverage that to get a job. Like that would be my assumption.
I think it's just kind of like sort of like a thing that people who are maybe a bit less experienced or a bit more junior care about, like when you're early in your career and just this idea of writing perfect code, it just sounds so fun. Or you've read some blog posts that gave you some rules about how long your methods are supposed to be or whatever,
3 to 4 lines. That's it.
Yeah.
Chat, this is one very important thing, okay? Honestly. Let's even do this, okay? Very important thing, chat. Very, very important thing. If someone spends an entire afternoon being annoying after you, saying that you should add this final class or this read-only, otherwise your code won't be good in whatever, that typically tells me that that person is a junior. Because, realistically, all those small things, they don't have any practical effect in your code. And with time, you will understand that, all right? You will understand that spending being an asshole for one entire afternoon just because your colleague have 6 lines in this method instead of 5, it's just a waste of energy discussing that, honestly. And that just typically tells me that the person discussing that with you is kind of a junior baby, you know? Someone who just came out of college and is always like, oh, the code, it needs to be perfect in XYZ. You know what I mean? Eden, what's up? Welcome to the live stream, man. Nice to see you.
Looked, and this week I've gotten 8 refactor PRs so far.
Whoa, that is so
like,
many.
Any PR that has the word single responsibility principle in it is closed.
That's auto
immediately.
close.
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
I
That's
hear my
auto
dog.
close.
Did you hear what Taylor said? If a pull request has within single responsibility principle, it gets auto close.
that's why we have agents for that now. Just monitor.
Sometimes I wonder if people like overvalue contributing a random PR to like something like Laravel or Tailwind versus just creating something of your own, like Adam said. Like to me, that's like 10x or 20x cooler than like I got a random refactor PR merged into
Oh my God.
Laravel and
That's such a good tweet. That's such a good tweet, honestly. Let's go there. Let's go here. Let's write the following, Shed. Let's write the following. If a pull request description mentions single responsibility principle, the pull request gets closed immediately. Now gets closed, gets auto closed. Here we go. This is a very nice tweet, chat. All right. If a pull request description mentions single responsibility principle, the pull request gets auto closed, instant. Bam, bam, boom.
You know, like
And it's like half the reason why people like you and I invest so much effort into making sure the things we build are like extensible from the outside.
exactly. Yeah.
Because that avoids all sorts of PRs coming our way. It lets people test out ideas using our.
Mike, there is literally nothing wrong with single responsibility principle. Like literally nothing wrong, but discussing about it, it's something that only typically juniors talk about, you know?
Sort of integration points, which we honestly
Basically, all the solid principles, if they are discussed within a pull request, typically is because it's basically juniors involved. That's it.
usually try to make as like extremely open and flexible as possible. And it's good for us because we can say, you know what, I'm not ready to like merge this. Go build it as like a package or as a plugin or whatever, and people can go and do that.
We have these cool tools called package managers that let you like bring in other code into your project, you know, which is super cool.
I'm calling Ginger Bill.
Yeah, I know.
He's
Some
gonna
people
say
don't
that he
think
hates
they're
those.
good. Yeah, that's right, Taylor. Package managers are evil.
Yeah.
Mitchell doesn't like packages very much either.
But like also when they, for example, if someone comes to you and says, oh, this method is like 10 lines, you need to refactor this into another method. I'm like, dude, have you written any real world code like in your life? You know, I know you just went out of college, but have you ever wrote any real code out in your life? Because you will. The only thing you'll be doing is dealing with big methods. That's just basically life on real world projects, you know? Unless you're not really building something real, you know?
Man, I missed him. We had this.
Hey, Gurjan, how you doing, man? Thanks for saying hi. How you doing, man? By the way, chat, put like on the video below. Go all the way down. Do you see a like button? Click on that. Also, subscribe on my channel if you can.
Same thing for NeoVim, which was like, you know, obviously lots of extensibility things. And there's been a lot of things that basically took a lot of time to mature and iterate on a separate, you know, feedback loop as a like external repo that eventually get merged into NeoVim core. And like I think that's a way better strategy too. If you're like, oh, there's this big thing that Laravel needs or something, right? Go and build like the external version of that. Iterate, not on the release schedule and with the same requirements as Laravel has, right? And then you can come back later and see
I
if that
literally
can
have
hit.
a GitHub saved response that says exactly that, basically. You should go build this as a package and see if it gets traction and then come back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been super successful, especially like I think the thing people don't get, which is like the other message for contributors that is important to hear, is like most of these like open source repos do not have like a Microsoft level triage team where they have, you know, like 5 people on staff to read issues full time,
Oh, yeah.
right? Where it's like,
Chat,
oh,
look at this. I'm going to just show you the past PHP is repo at the moment. I think that is more than 100. So before 130 issues at the moment. So before releasing past v4, I literally put this down to 0 issues. And now I have, so that was like a month, 2 months ago, I think. And now we have 130. That's how crazy this repo is at the moment. 44 million downloads, which is also impressive at the moment on past PHP.
Microsoft's budget for VS Code is like multiple millions of dollars per year, right? And so yeah, that's fine. You can just like, oh, they want to have a built-in package manager that does all of this stuff and whatever. Cool. They can put a few engineers on that and spend several million dollars. But like your random open source repo does not have that same capability or budget to like solve those things. So, you know, like Taylor, I know you feel it all the time, I'm sure of. I cannot maintain this forever, like you said before. I cannot be the one where this is my thing for the rest of my life. I don't want to spend all of my life writing a Laravel package manager or something, right? We have Composer.
He did build a Laravel package manager.
That is true.
Before pre-composer.
Before Composer existed.
Oh, and then you got to delete it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That feels
Yes.
good.
Wait, what? Taylor Otwell built a package manager before Composer?
Even better. Best PR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Cool.
everybody for being here. I think we gotta wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, already?
All right.
Yeah,
We
thanks
got
for having me.
7-year-olds to kill in Fortnite. So
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
By the way, we do have to do a DHH Fortnite something at some point soon because it would be so funny.
Programmer Fortnite tournament. That's what it's feeling like. Esports event.
I don't know about tournament. We're
Yeah, that whole
casuals over
tournament
here.
word kind of hurts me.
Oh, just like with
Yeah.
programmers only.
With programmers with kids only. How about
There you
that?
go. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
I like
At
it.
least 2 as well.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you everybody for joining. We had Mitchell Hashimoto, creator of Ghosty and many other open source things. Taylor Otwell, creator.
By the way, Shed, everyone clapping for the Primeagen and TJ for organizing this event online, and we were lucky to be able to react to this event. So let's clap to him, to both these people, and also all the guests that were on this show today. What is the recap we can immediately understand from this? Okay. So in general, open source is... There is 2 sides of it, right? There is people who live out of open source. There is also people who just contribute to open source like, 30 minutes a week or whatever. I think in general, contributing to open source is paramount important in your career, okay? It's important in 2 things, 2 aspects. Number 1, it's paramount finding a new job position, okay? Finding a better job position. Not only a new job position, but also a better job position, okay? Again, if you contribute to an open source project and then those people or people around it are looking for someone, and typically they come from good companies as they are dealing with open source, they will be looking for you because they have worked with you already and you are probably a good fit for that company. So finding a good company, it's very important on open source. And open source brings you that. So, also having this, of course, nice GitHub profile. The aspect number 2 of this is actually also growth, personal growth in your career. Meaning that, I probably wouldn't be as good as I am with PHP right now if I haven't, contributed to Laravel, but also created past PHP and many other open source repos. That give me a lot of growth technically, literally a lot of growth technically. Being able to ship something that runs on any laptop, any machine, but also at the same time runs on any project and has to deal with, a million of different repositories. We just saw that past PHP has 44 million downloads at the moment. So there is a lot of projects who are running on past PHP at the moment. And being able to build something like that is truly technically challenging. So brings you a lot of technical expertise as well. Okay. Canada Rise is asking if I will be going to the Wire Live Con. I am not. I know that Caleb Porzio is throwing a conference. Let me see. How is it called? Wire Live Con, like this? Is this one? Yeah, it is. So I'm not going to this event. It's too far away from my home at the moment. Okay. How many people are going? I have little no idea. Tony is saying, let's go through past issues in the repo on the stream. It would be too boring, dude. It would be way too boring to do that. Trust me. Adam Oscar is saying the following. Wait, you created past? There is a lot of pressure to live up with all those pull request tests in your projects. Yes, I have created past PHP. That is not a lot of pressure. So maybe in the beginning it was, but over time you just get good with dealing with that, basically. Okay. Kongyang is saying the following. Intentional and meaningful contribution to open source teaches how to read code. Exactly. Very important topic over there. Again, if you contribute to open source, be sure to respect the existing norms, the existing philosophy, the existing coding style, all the existing practices of the existing maintainer. Again, all of these practices can be really opinionated, but if you respect the existing practices within an existing open source project, that will be much helpful and it will increase the likelihood of your pull request to be merged way more. Okay, that is true for Laravel, but also honestly true to various different repositories. Okay. But that being said, chat, I hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. It was a little bit shorter than usual, but that will be it. We'll be back next Friday. And hopefully, Joe Morrow is asking, which was your first open source? Well, depends. My first open source contribution, I think it was to Laravel, honestly. Probably just a just a typo or something like that. My first open source project was Collision, I think. Let me see. So I think the very first open source project I have created was Collision, this one, which is now with 300 million total downloads, which is like fucking impressive. 300 million, which is a big number, but close to 500 million, which is impressive. And this was my very first open source contribution, open source project. What it does, it renders this nice editor on the terminal, as you can see here. This nice editor also renders a struct trace. It's on Laravel right now, so probably the reason why it has so many downloads. Okay, this was my very first open source contribution. Project. Contribution was for Laravel. Okay. Diabels missed half of the live stream. That's no worries, dude. You'll be back Friday. Friday, we'll have a new YouTube video again. I told you guys this already. Next Friday, new YouTube video will be about Reactor PHP. Dude, Adam is saying, wait, you created Collision? Dude, I have created Collision, Pint, Past PHP, I mean, if you go to my repo right now, there is a lot of stuff. PHP Insights, Latastan, Laravel 0. There is many others. And also, obviously, many of the features you are using at Laravel were also contributed by me. Okay? Yeah, I lost the bet, man. Literally. Look at this fucking profile picture at the moment. Looks ridiculous. And I have to deal with this probably for the next few months. What do you guys think, honestly? Because I've been thinking a little bit. So we have this profile picture right now. And before this, I had like my face like this. Super serious. I kind of like this profile picture more, I think. I don't know. But yeah. All right, chat. I think that's it for today. Let's rate someone. I'll be back next Friday with a new YouTube video and live stream. So that being said, let's rate someone on Twitch as usual. And I'm gonna enjoy a nice steak that I will be cooking for myself tonight. So let's rate someone as usual. Who do we have online doing a nice live stream? Let's see. Boo, 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 boo. We have Diabel, Creativa, a bunch of Counter-Strike. I need to stop following these people. It just takes me a bunch of my time. What is my favorite contribution to the Laravel framework that I'm most proud of? Oh, that's a tough question, man. So I've refactored the entire artisan output. That's a good one, but also I think, the password rule is actually an important one. What else? Pint. I think Pint is probably one of the best ones at the moment. What else? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, chat, let's rate someone. I need to go. So, let's rate here. Daniel Hart, I think. He's doing Laravel development. He's also awesome, so let's do that. All right? Chat, I love you all. Catch you guys next Friday. New YouTube video, but also new stream next Friday. Love you all. Peace out. Boop, boop, boo.